Have you ever wondered why love always feels delayed for you, while everyone else seems to find it so easily? What if I told you, this is not punishment, but preparation for something far greater than you can imagine? There are certain souls in this world who cannot settle for anything less than truth. Maybe you are one of them. You notice how easily other people fall into relationships, how they seem to meet, connect, and move forward without thinking too deeply. For them, love looks simple, natural, almost effortless. And yet for you, it feels like a long and silent waiting. You stand between longing and discernment, wanting connection, but unable to accept what feels shallow or false. This ache is not random. It is not because you are broken or unlucky. The universe is not punishing you. It is preparing you. It is shaping you for a different kind of love, one that cannot be rushed, one that demands maturity of the soul. Carl Jung once explained that some people carry within them a deep rejection of the superficial. They are unable to accept a love that only fills space without expanding consciousness. They cannot fake attraction where none exists. They cannot convince themselves that almost enough is truly enough. For them, half love feels worse than no love at all. Such people are condemned to authenticity, and though it feels heavy, it is also a blessing, because only they can hold a love that is extraordinary. But before this kind of love can arrive, the soul must go through what feels like a series of tests. These tests are not cruel games, nor are they punishments. They are sacred initiations, challenges designed to strip away everything false, everything secondhand, everything borrowed from family, culture, or society. Without these tests, you would not be able to recognize your true reflection when it finally appears. The very first of these tests comes in the form of solitude. Not the chosen solitude of meditation, retreat, or quiet self-reflection. No, this is an imposed solitude. It arrives when every available option feels empty. When you look around and see people entering relationships, posting pictures, announcing engagements, living what seems like beautiful love stories, while you remain untouched outside of it all. It can feel unbearable. You may start to wonder, what's wrong with me? Why can't I find what others seem to find so easily? But this solitude is not a punishment. It is a filter. It is a period of refinement where the universe makes sure you do not waste your soul's depth on a shallow connection. During this time, every potential partner feels like they are speaking a language your heart cannot understand. You might try, but something inside you resists. You cannot force attraction where it does not exist. You cannot lower your standards just to escape being alone. And so you find yourself in a strange place, surrounded by people, but still deeply alone. This solitude is teaching you something profound, that loneliness and solitude are not the same. Loneliness is the ache for connection, the pain of feeling unseen. But solitude is different. Solitude is the sacred space where you meet yourself, where your connection with your own soul deepens. It is here that you begin to hear your own voice more clearly, to feel your own truth more strongly. The universe watches carefully in this phase. It asks, will you keep your standards even when it feels unbearable? Or will you collapse them out of fear of being alone forever? It is in this very waiting that your soul grows strong, because solitude, when embraced, becomes a teacher. It reveals which desires are truly yours and which were simply given to you by society. It helps you separate genuine attraction from the pull of old, familiar dysfunction. It forces you to stop shrinking yourself to fit into relationships that were never designed for your depth. You begin to notice how others move through love with ease, They merge, they move forward, they start families. To them, love is light, playful, uncomplicated. But for you, every romantic decision carries a kind of existential weight. You think deeply, you feel profoundly, and you wonder if your wiring is flawed, if perhaps something in you is broken. But it is not brokenness, it is specificity. It is the universe demanding that you do not betray yourself by accepting something that cannot truly hold you. You are not being left out, you are being set apart. And so the first test continues, sometimes for years, until you reach a turning point, until you learn to live with solitude, not as a waiting room, but as a laboratory of self-discovery, until you learn to enjoy your own company without desperation, until you can say, I would rather be alone in truth than partnered in illusion. Only then does the universe prepare you for the next stage of your journey. After a long season of solitude, after you've grown used to your own company, something unusual happens. Into your carefully built silence, someone steps in. At first, it feels like a miracle. This person seems to speak your hidden language, the one nobody else ever understood. Their presence feels magnetic. Their words seem written for your soul. And suddenly, the loneliness that once felt unbearable is replaced with a deep rush of recognition. It feels fated, almost supernatural. You find yourself thinking, finally, here is the person I have been waiting for. But the universe hides its second lesson inside this connection, because what you feel is not always what it seems. Carl Jung would call this the activation of your anima or animus, the unconscious image of your ideal masculine or feminine self, projected onto another person. In simple words, this person becomes a mirror. They reflect back the parts of you that you have been longing to see. You don't just love them, you love the version of yourself you glimpse through them. And they don't just love you either. They love what you represent to them, the piece of themselves they feel they are missing. This connection is powerful, almost addictive, because it feels like destiny, yet hidden inside it is the seed of disappointment. It is not authentic intimacy, it is projection. It is two people unconsciously using each other as screens for their deepest hopes and wounds. At first, you may not notice. Their presence feels like a blessing. They listen in a way others never did. They share your interests, mirror your values, maybe even share your dreams. They make you feel seen, understood, and alive again after such a long stretch of emptiness. But slowly, cracks appear. Their love for you has conditions. Their acceptance has boundaries. They love certain parts of you, the easy, beautiful, inspiring parts. But when your full truth comes out, when your intensity rises, when your depth becomes heavy, they hesitate. They admire your sensitivity, but may not hold space for your intensity. They value your uniqueness, but ask you to dim it when it feels inconvenient. They love you in fragments, but not in totality. Here lies the real test. Will you convince yourself that partial love is enough? Will you settle for being understood only halfway? Will you cut pieces off yourself just to keep the connection alive? The universe allows this test because it teaches you through experience why you cannot settle. If you accept this incomplete love, you slowly feel yourself eroding. You smile, but inside, you know something is missing. You bend, you adjust, you shrink, but it costs you something essential. The relationship may look perfect to others, but to you, it feels like a quiet kind of loneliness. Loneliness while standing next to someone. This is where many souls learn their hardest lesson. Settling for half love is more painful than standing in solitude. At least in solitude, you are fully yourself. In projection-based love, you trade pieces of yourself just to hold on. And so the second test asks you, will you take the bait of what looks like destiny but is actually a mirror? Or will you learn to tell the difference between being truly seen and being idealized? Between being loved for who you are and being loved for the reflection you provide. This stage is painful but necessary because it teaches you that intensity does not always equal truth, that chemistry does not always equal compatibility, and that sometimes the soul you think was sent to complete you was only sent to show you what still needs healing. The universe does not punish you if you choose wrongly here. It simply lets you live the consequences. You feel the slow fading of your authenticity, the ache of being loved only in part, until finally you wake up and realize half love is not love at all. And when you reach that realization, you are ready to move forward to the third test, the one where your own fears and defenses become the greatest barrier of all. If you have passed the second test, if you have chosen not to settle for half love, the universe rewards you with a deeper opportunity. Someone new may enter your life, and unlike before, their presence feels different. It is not just projection. They are not a mirror showing you your own hidden self. They are a real, breathing soul who sees you clearly and accepts you more fully than others ever did. At first, this feels unbelievable. They do not ask you to shrink. They are not afraid of your intensity. They do not admire you in fragments. They embrace the whole of you. This is the love you prayed for, the one you thought might never come. And yet, this is where the third test begins. Instead of leaning into this blessing, something strange rises inside you. Doubt, fear, a quiet suspicion that it's too good to be true. You start questioning, why do they love me? What if they leave? What if I'm not enough? Without realizing it, you begin to sabotage. Maybe you withdraw, pulling back when things get too close. Or you test them with silence to see if they will chase you. Maybe you compare them to impossible standards, telling yourself, if they really loved me, they would do this or say that. Or perhaps you push them away before they get the chance to hurt you. Better to leave first than to be abandoned again. Carl Jung would say this is your shadow at work, the unhealed wounds of your past rising to the surface, old betrayals, old heartbreaks, old stories of rejection. All of them come alive the moment you face real intimacy. Your nervous system remembers the pain of loss, and instead of trusting this love, it prepares for war. This is why the third test is so difficult. It is not about the other person at all. It is about you. The universe is asking, can you handle real love? Can you allow yourself to be loved without destroying it? Can you stay open instead of building walls? For many, this stage is where they fail, not because love wasn't real, but because their fear was louder than their faith. They let suspicion eat away at trust. They let insecurity choke the connection. They act out of protection, not presence. The tragedy is that the partner may truly care, but after enough cycles of push and pull, doubt and testing, distance and return, they finally give up. And the one thing you feared most, abandonment, becomes reality, but this time because you created it. This is why the universe brings this test, to make you confront your own patterns, to reveal the ways you sabotage yourself, so that you may finally break free. If you pass this test, you learn a priceless truth, that love cannot heal you if you do not first stop wounding yourself. That trust cannot grow where suspicion rules. That intimacy requires courage, the courage to stay, to open, to believe. Passing this test does not mean becoming perfect. It means catching yourself in the act of sabotage and choosing differently. It means saying, I am afraid, but I will not let fear destroy what is good. It means learning to stand in the discomfort of closeness without running away. When you succeed, something shifts inside you. Love no longer feels like a battlefield. It feels like a safe place where both of you can rest. And in that safety, your soul grows stronger. But the journey is not over. For once you learn not to sabotage love, the universe leads you to the next stage, recalibration, where you must let go of everything that cannot grow with you. If you have come this far, it means you have walked through fire. You endured solitude without breaking. You resisted the illusions of projection. You faced your own sabotage and learned to stay open. But now, the universe gives you its final and greatest challenge: transformation. At this stage, you cannot keep living with the same identity, the same patterns, the same attachments that defined you before. To receive the kind of love you are destined for, you must recalibrate your entire life. This is not about romance anymore. It is about alignment. You begin to see that certain friendships, habits, or environments no longer match the person you are becoming. Maybe your old circle is built on gossip or drama. Maybe your habits numb you instead of nurturing you. Maybe your career or path keeps you small when your soul longs for expansion. The universe starts to shake these foundations. Situations break apart. People leave. Doors close. And at first, it feels like another loss. But in truth, it is a cleansing. The universe is removing everything that cannot grow with you. Carl Jung called this individuation, the process of becoming your true self. It is not easy. It requires letting go of false identities, masks you wore to survive, roles you played to be accepted. It requires saying no to what drains you, even if it means standing alone again. This stage also asks you to release the story that suffering defines you. Many old souls secretly believe their pain makes them special, that their wounds are their identity. But to step into true love, you must lay that identity down. Love cannot root itself in a victim story. It can only flourish where there is freedom. And so, the test of recalibration is brutal but necessary. Can you let go of the familiar, even if it feels like losing yourself? Can you trust that by dropping what is false, you make space for what is true? But even recalibration is not the end. There is one last step, the surrender. This is where the universe asks you to stop searching, to stop clinging, to stop waiting for love to rescue you. Instead, you must learn to feel whole on your own, to live as though you are already complete. At first, this feels impossible. How can you stop yearning for love when it is all you ever wanted? But slowly, something shifts. You realize love was never missing. You were. Your own presence, your own self-acceptance, your own wholeness was the thing you were truly seeking. When you embody this wholeness, you no longer chase love. You no longer settle. You no longer sabotage. You no longer carry stories of lack. Instead, you radiate peace, confidence, and quiet joy. And from this place, love finally finds you, not because you need it, but because you are ready to share it. When true partnership arrives at this stage, it feels different. It does not arrive with chaos or obsession. It does not demand you to sacrifice your authenticity. It comes gently, steadily, like a river flowing into the ocean. This love is not about completing each other. It is about celebrating each other's completeness. It does not create cages. It creates space. It does not take you away from yourself. It brings you deeper into yourself. And then, looking back, every heartbreak, every test, every lonely night begins to make sense. You see that the universe was never punishing you. It was preparing you, It was sculpting your soul into a vessel capable of receiving and giving the rarest kind of love, the kind that is both spiritual and human, eternal and present. The final truth is this: you were never waiting for love. Love was waiting for you to become ready, whole, and brave enough to hold it. And now, at the end of the tests, you finally are.